I just hit it. All right. We're up and at 'em. Been there for 30 seconds, apparently. Says, welcome to our live chat. Now all I gotta do is wait for people to show up. Hi, Aaron. You're first up. How you doing? Haley says, good afternoon, Siofra and Ian. Hi, Haley. Carla says, hi, Siofra and Ian. How was your week? I like your hair. Thank you. Yeah, I decided to do some braids with it today. I just, And our week has been pretty well, I think. We have to fix our car. We have a major oil leak, so that is in process at the moment. Always fun. Entropy being what it is. But everything else has been pretty well. It's been a good week. Oh, that's right. I put that right in front of the mic.
Oh, yeah. Probably easier here.
Yeah, sorry. Apparently I blocked the mic with my water bottle. Not thinking things through. Jono says, hi, everyone. Hi, Jono. Welcome. So, we're glad to be here. We have some things coming up that I think should be fun. I just today, this morning, was thinking about the idea of doing a full moon amethyst crystal web thing, like on Zoom, and that people can participate in wherever they happen to be if they're awake or available at the time, and just make it like an open meeting. I don't know that I'll be ready for this Wednesday or not, the 14th, which is the eclipse. But we'll see. Maybe it's sort of not much time, but I'm looking at it. Carla says our car is going in the shop on the 21st. Cat. Yeah. No, your car.
Cat to the shop and the car to the vet.
That's right. That's what happens. Grateful Owl says, hello, everyone. Hi, Grateful Owl. Carla says, did a bunch of spring cleaning today. Windows, curtains, floors. Hey. Teresa says, I love the braids. Thank you. Aaron says, weird week at work, but off now. Very strong emotion. Trey says, hello, Siofra and Ian. Hi, Trey. Carla says, laugh out loud, cat. Yeah, that's me and my eyeballs. Sometimes skimming things, and I was thinking about my cat. So there you go. My son and his wife came to visit yesterday, which was fun. And the rabbit actually, the bunny stayed in the living room most of the time. I had to get him back in the living room because Ian gave him a treat, and then he ran around the back to eat it. So then I had to get another treat and get him back around the front. But he actually stayed there pretty well and wasn't too skittish. Although he didn't like it when I let my son try to give him a treat. He went to take the treat, and then he smelled his finger and went, who the hell are you? And backed up. Yep. And then ran away. So apparently not so good with getting treats from strangers yet.
It actually took us a long time to really get him comfortable with us, even though he was raised him pretty much.
And his birthday is coming up on the 20th of March. So next week he's going to turn 1. Carla says, my cat's right here with me. Yes. Good. So, yeah, so got all kinds of fun potential things happening. I'm enjoying some of these shifts just in time for Mercury retrograde, which is the day after the full moon. That should be fun. Yay. What do we want to talk about today? I brought my crystal book in case people had crystal questions, at least the ones that I use. Ray says we got a lot of Pisces here based on last week's chat. Cool. And of course, us Capricorns, we're always here. Can't get rid of us. We were talking about the idea of camping with the family, so that was kind of a fun conversation. Arla says, hopefully your bunny will be more social than my cat. She'll only come around us. If anyone visits, she hides. Well, the cat was first not happy that we moved his bed off the couch, but then he jumped up on the couch and started loving up my son, rubbing his head,
Yeah,
the back of his head.
Our cat is very much a people
Yeah,
beast.
the cat definitely likes people, so that's good. And my son they have two cats of their own, so they're cat people. But yeah, Bunny was pretty cute. Jen says, Happy Sunday, everyone. Love and blessings to you all. Hi, Jen. Welcome. Ray says, Do you have any crystals that don't go well with each other? Well, if I'm trying to do something specific and I get two crystals that are doing opposite things, then I wouldn't wear them.
Yeah, other than that, wouldn't try to use a watery crystal to do a fiery thing or that.
Right. You can wear them together because
Yeah.
if you're looking for balance between the elements, then that's not an issue. So it's not like they have an issue with each other. It's just if you're utilizing them for specific things. Today I've got on an amethyst, some aquamarine, and fluorite, different colors of fluorite. I made both of the necklaces, and this is one of my early pieces that I bought, the phoenix with a amethyst in it. And I have amazonite, chalcedony, emerald, kyanite, amethyst, and aventurine. So Ray says mismatched stones. I've heard some don't get along with each other. I've not heard that. I mean, they all live on the planet together, so I don't know that they don't get along. Teresa says Pinky and Mojo are now chasing each other around and playing. So nice to see. Carla says I have amazonite in my pocket. Cool. It's always good to have some rocks around. I went for some relaxing, calming, sort of watery stones today. Sort of, Anyway, depends on the mood you're in. And I was in this mood. So there I go. I think it just really depends. And I mean on the table next to my bed and on my altar, I have all kinds of different crystals, and they all represent different energies. I have a plate that has a stone for each of the planets that the wands that I've made that represent the energy of those wands. They don't seem to have a problem with each other. I think it really just depends upon what you're doing, or if you're thinking about it intellectually, maybe, or if you have a reaction to. I can't use all crystals. Some crystals and I aren't compatible, at least at this point. I'm sure that could change, but yeah.
A lot of it's, the state you happen to be in. I once got zapped by one of my own talismans. It was a solar lunar thing because I'd been working with the solar energy really hard, and I tried to switch back over to the lunar energy all at once, and I hadn't properly prepared myself to touch the lunar talisman, and it gave me a big blast. So I did it to myself, but the proper thing would have been to have worked with the lunar force and got that in me better before grabbing it. So a lot of times it can just depend on where you're at right then at that time.
Yeah. Teresa says, Pinky, or what theme do you predict for the next moon cycle? A wait and see? I don't know. I'm hoping that we're going to get through it and come out the other side. It just seems like more chaos is coming. So, Donna says, what stone did you pick for each planet? Okay, so Mercury, I have opal. Venus is emerald. Moon is moonstone. I actually don't have one for Earth since I'm on it. I don't have one specifically for that. Mars is a ruby uh, that I have, a ruby matrix stone that I have a pentagram drawn on. Jupiter is lapis. Saturn is jet, a large piece of black jet. So those are basically the stones that are on my wands for the uh, various planetary wands I made. And I thought it would be good to have a stone, like if I'm traveling and I can't take my wands, I could take charged up stones that I charged with the wand and still have the energy of that with me if I needed it for one reason or another. Carla says, I have a crystal oracle deck and pull for myself with the thought of which crystals are best for me today. Jade, black, tourmaline, and amazonite were the ones, so I have those three along with the quartz. I like black tourmaline. I like all of those, actually. I like rocks, what can I say? They're cool. Fun and games. So, but we were busy with mundane world issues this week, like, dealing with the vehicle, etc., that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, I still have most of the dealing to do. We got to get the parts in. Should be coming.
Yeah, we had to figure out the parts and then order the parts, and the parts are on their way. Carlos says, me too, Siofra. They have good energy. Yeah, they do. Um, and they're all different. Shay says, rocks like you, Siofra. Thank you, Shay. I think they do. And I like rocks. I've always been attracted to rocks ever since I was little. And I think amethyst was my very first really favorite stone. It was really early on that I really liked amethyst. Never really cared much for diamonds in particular. They don't seem to have much appeal to me, except the colored diamonds. I find them more interesting than the clear ones. It's sort of a quirk, I guess. So, Teresa says, in a vision last week, Hecate gave me a piece of coal. It turned into black diamond, which she wrapped up and gave to me. It was carved into a little statue of Ganesh. Cool.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. Carla says, I like the black diamonds. Yeah, I bet I would like those too. I used to have a ring that had a black star sapphire in it that I really liked. Pretty nice. And it was, I think, Tibetan, and it was set. It was set in a setting of a Fu lion. And then I had a dragon that had a garnet in its mouth, which was the other ring I had. Those rings, I don't know where they went. I keep thinking one day I'm going to open up a pocket or a drawer somewhere, and they're going to be there. I haven't seen them in quite a while. Jono says, thanks, Siofra. I might have thought lapis for Venus, but I learned most of my stuff from books like Cunningham. I'm not very sensitive to stones. What do you think of jasper for Earth? Well, jasper would work fine. So would petrified wood.
Yeah, I think jasper would be a great one for Earth. Yes, and my favorite one is petrified Earth or wood for Earth. Petrified Earth.
Yeah.
Same difference.
Yeah.
Weighty, heavy things that are weighty and heavy stones.
Carla says, Teresa, sorry, don't know why I saw Jed for Teresa. Jen. Okay. Carla says, ooh, that was weird. Siofra read your comment as I typed thank that, Jen. I see. Okay. Black diamonds. All right. We got that cleared up. I missed that one. Wow, I'm having a case of bad fingers. Messy fingers. Mm-hmm. But aha. Jano says, chat is quiet. Feel like discussing politics? No, thank you. Yeah,
Yep.
we don't need that. I'm sure it'll pick up. People will start asking questions. I mean, okay, so before everybody got on, I was talking about the idea of doing a Zoom amethyst crystal web full moon thing that would be no charge, just for people who were participating in it or wanted to participate in it. I'm not sure if I can get it organized for Wednesday, which is only a few days away, but this is a cool thing that happened. Well, I'll get back to that in a minute. Grateful Al says, I loved finding fossils when I was little, still do. I think I was gifted a large clamshell fossil once. It was placed on my usual path to school in my yard. Could have just missed it 1,000 times. Carla says, I am literally laughing so hard I scared my cat. Astra says, hello guys. Hi, Astra. Okay, so here's something that happened this week of a magical bent. One of the people that came to the paranormal, one of my paranormal classes, she spins yarn, and she was watching the Amethyst Crystal Web Project video, and got stuck on the phrase that I ran out of purple thread or purple ribbon. So she actually dyed and made a skein of this purple yarn, and she's sending it to me. She was thinking about the Amethyst Crystal Web Project while she was doing it. So I'm going to use it to make an actual physical representation of a web, since I don't know how much yarn there is in it when I get it. And then I'm going to put amethysts or in it, on it, around it, however it is inspired to do. And then I followed that up in my head with, we have a globe, a brass globe that is representative of the planet. It has the continents on it, and we've used this for years to try and send healing energy to the planet. And it's a hollow, and so we filled it with a fluid condenser, so it's charged up pretty well. So I'm going to put that in with the amethyst crystal web, with all the amethyst on my altar. And then when I make the web, literal web, I'm going to place it over top of all of them so that it'll more completely represent what we're trying to do when we're charging up the amethyst on the full moon. Just sort of give it an extra little boost. And I was looking up the dates when this started, and it was actually April 29th, 2018 was when we did the ritual that began the Amethyst Crystal Web Project. So we've been doing it for almost 7 years. I think is a significant number, 7. And so, yeah, I think it's cool. So that's what we're looking at. Carla says, at the political question, oh, laughing. Jay says, would love to do a full moon amethyst web Zoom with you, Siofra. Thank you. Jen says, amethyst was my first crystal too. I love purple. I have a few Herkimer diamonds and really like those. I have some of those too. Jay says, wow, handmade purple yarn for your project. Teresa says, I think the amethyst Zoom would be interesting to participate in. Carla says, my birthday is April 30th. Jana says, what was your paranormal Zoom like? Sounds like it was really cool. I had fun. We only had a few people, but I mean, I'm just beginning the whole concept of it to see how it goes. I'm getting more organized as I go along. But I like the open format like we do with the live shows, having people ask questions, and then if they have something specific they're trying to learn about, then I can answer that, those specific questions. So not as structured as like most classes kind of thing, although with the creating sacred space, it was a little bit more structured. I had some ideas of what I wanted to present and talk about and so forth. So yeah, I'm still learning the whole protocol, but now I can actually share the classes with other people if the participants give me permission. And someone came up with that idea and they wanted to share it. So, and I got permission to share one of the classes with them. And we could always ask her what she thought. Carla says, I can't do Zoom, but I'd love to somehow participate. Ickle Pixie says, afternoon, evening, all. Hi, Ickle. How you doing? Well, you know, I know it's hard to do Zoom on phones. Apparently, it's a problem for a lot of people, but you're participating if you're doing it on the full moon anyway, even if you can't do it like with me on the video. So, Carla says, Siofra does the work of the divine. I can attest to that. Take her class. Thank you, Carla. So, and also I was thinking that uh, we're getting a website made. So someone is doing that for me. And I I think I'd like to, in the Amethyst Crystal Web section of the website, put it out there like when we did the healing of the power spot in Krakow, Poland. I want to put the story about that and how it went and so forth. And if people have other power spots near them that they can travel to or that they know what the energy's like and they would like us to focus on that one place to try and bring more energy to that. What we did for the Krakow spot was the person who contacted us buried small amethyst crystals around the mound. That was the spot. And then that full moon, we focused our attention to that specific power spot and cleared it out and had a significant effect, at least for the short term. I'm not sure if it's still, clear because I haven't heard back from her in a while. But I think it'd be a worthwhile endeavor and it could be a fun magical project. So those are the things that are thinking about. Teresa says, Carla, maybe there could be a live Facebook event instead of Zoom. Carla says, or even here. Oh, on YouTube, that's true, we could. But I was wanting to see people, and on Zoom I can see people. It's like, I mean, on this and on Facebook, it's just me doing my thing, and I'm not getting the interaction so much with other people, and I kind of like that with the Zoom.
Well, not only that, I think it really thinks it makes the classes better because you can pick up on everybody's unspoken body language and stuff,
Right.
get a feel for how people are taking what you're saying.
Yeah, and I can share it with other people. So if someone wants to participate but can't the day we do it, then I can share the link to it because this will be a public event, and then the next month they can follow along, and then they'll have it to do, I think. So yeah, we're thinking this through. So ideas are always welcome. Old Crone's Corner says, hello, hi. Jen says, what a lovely gift and project. Yes, it was a very interesting surprise. And Carla says, yeah, I definitely get that. The energy of the class is real. Yeah. And so, I can always send you a link after we do the project, and you can then use it the following full moon. And that could be fine too, since it's going to be a free event anyway. And of course, on Zoom, everybody can change their name. So if you're worried about people knowing who you are, if you're not comfortable with people seeing your face, you can black out your video and not have your face on there. And so, I leave that up to the participants, and I'll make sure everybody knows that that's okay with me. But the people who want to be there that I get to look at, I'd be happy. Carla says that'd work. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's always interesting when these things come because I never imagined the wool idea. And it just made me think about the way me and the universe do things together. And this is something that's just falling into my lap, as it were, from other people putting energy into it. And I'm like, okay, I think I'm ready for that. So cooperative effort. And that's the thing is really tapping into that stream of energy, becoming again a part of the whole thing, the whole earth and all the energies that are there. It's like humans have been so separated from that and joining with the life force energy and being a part of it. We've separated ourselves from that whole thing and guard our individuality. And I think that people are sometimes worried that if they join back in, they're going to lose themselves maybe. But that's not how it works, because I'm still me. And that's sort of been my relationship with it all along. That's why we talk about boundaries and self-determination and, personal will and so forth. Grateful Al says, I think you can do the same on Google Meet. The place I work for uses that. You just don't get as much options as you do on Zoom. Teresa says, yes, I liked seeing people on Zoom. It's good to learn what other people do. Old Crone says, Miss Siofra, I enjoy your channel so very much. I'm so very glad. Thank you. Beth says, hi, everyone. Hi, Beth. So, yeah, spring is coming, and, the spring equinox is right around the corner, like next week. Is it next week? Yeah, it's next week. I'm trying to think of numbers in my head. They don't always work. But, yeah, today is the 9th. So it'll be, I guess, 2 weeks. Yeah, it's the 9th. So it's probably, a little bit less than 2 weeks. So somewhere in there between 12 and 14 days. So, but anyway, I'm feeling the energy of spring coming. Like, it's time to get moving. And this apparently is how I'm moving. I'm moving along with this. So those are my project. I never know when things like that are going to happen. You guys have projects? Share them with the class, or the group, channel. I think it's warm enough in here at this point. Carlos says, hi, Bethy. How you doing, Beth? I told some of you guys I got one of those silly messages on the channel. Someone decided I needed to know that I was doing witchcraft, which I thought was pretty hysterical. Apparently, they thought I didn't know that I was doing witchcraft, so they wanted to inform me. I'm like, Jono says, Siofra, do you mind sharing if you've had any dreams this week? I've been having anxiety dreams. And Ian, do you dream?
I don't really generally don't remember my dreams much. I had one last night where a bunch of buildings were falling down around me, but nobody was getting hurt or anything. So I don't really know how to interpret that exactly. Chief suggested old structures breaking up, which sounds appropriate for the meditations.
Yeah, rebuilding your internal structures.
Generally, though, no, I have insomnia, so I have something to help me sleep for that. And generally, I just don't remember my dreams very well at all.
I've had some dreams, but they haven't been anything that told me anything in particular. So, I haven't had one of my foretelling dreams, for example. But I understand the anxiety. There's a lot of that. So, Carla says, laugh, and Grateful Al says that. Carla says, I have some wand projects. I got a Dremel for Christmas, so now that they're all seasoned, I'll sand, carve, and burn them. Terrific, yes. Teresa says, the energy I'm getting for the upcoming moon cycle is super serious effort and working on things and projects. Beth says, ooh, we are witches. We are. Haley says, yes, working on building my network site in the Amethyst network, as well building will, safety, and capacity in myself. As in my professional life, I am creating a public health program in my local city. Wow, that's ambitious, and good luck with that. Sounds like worthy. Jen says, how can you find a power spot? Local legend says that Miami is cursed. They say that's why it gets hit so often by hurricanes, but there are literally millions of people here. How do you discern a power spot versus human energy from the general population?
Question.
Okay,
we found
yeah.
one by accident.
Well, I found some on purpose too, and a lot of them by accident. But the thing is that you can have power spots in a city. And I lived on one accidentally when I lived in Regina at one point. I ended up in a house that was on a power spot. And I had more wrong numbers call my phone from and they were calling completely different numbers. It was like literally wires were crossed where I was. It was the strangest thing. And living on a power spot is usually somewhat disruptive because it draws in the energy of everybody that's there. So if it's a highly populated area, it can be pretty chaotic and difficult to like calm down. But even the ones that are off in the middle of nowhere, they're very intense. And if you're walking in the woods, and if you start to suddenly notice that it feels like you're walking through, I don't know, molasses or something really thick, everything gets super, super thick suddenly, and you're not sure if you want to go on, you get tired and whatnot. That's usually an indication that you're reaching the edge of the energy field of a power spot, a main one, because it's sort of like a almost a self-protective mechanism for those. It's like it keeps the person who's not ready for it in general away, because generally speaking, when that happens to someone, they'll just turn around or they'll walk in a different direction and just not go that way. But if you keep pushing through, when you feel the energy, um, when you get to the other side of this like field barrier, it'll suddenly clear up and be completely different. Legends will often tell you where power spots are. They'll talk about like don't go to this place. Some cases because it's cursed, or because the fairies live there, or uh, the wall between the worlds is thin, or people go there and disappear and never come back, or what have you. I think a lot of times those stories are around specific power spots, and so you can sort of get an idea of where to look. And I doubt that that has anything to do with Florida getting hit by hurricanes. I think it's pretty much it's sticking out in the ocean, and with the Gulf on one side and the Atlantic on the other, and it's just like really easy to hit. It's not like there's much there to slow anything down because it's just sitting right there. But still, um, yeah, it's somebody did when they first came up with the idea of ley lines. The idea that the guy who first originated the notion came up with was like they were very specific, like straight lines from this spot to this spot. They used like famous locations like the pyramids and Stonehenge and whatnot, and then draw straight lines, and here would be a glob of energy where these lines might cross or meet, sort of like latitudes and longitudes. In reality, it isn't like that. It's more like a circulatory system, and so the ley lines can move and change direction and change which way they're going. Some of them might peter out, and other ones might grow somewhere else, just like your circulatory system might. Like if you lose the ability for one artery or blood vessel to get blood to a certain area, other vessels will grow in order to take up the slack or go around the spot or what have you. So yeah, it's not as straightforward as the guy originally envisioned, but they're real. I mean, I certainly haven't counted them. There are definitely places where there's more accumulated energy, and like Mount Shasta, Sedona, Arizona, they definitely have um, a lot of stories about them, and there are definitely power spots in those locations. So I don't know. It says, I'm working on getting my mason bees ready for spring. Yay. Carla says, oh my God, dreams. I dreamt of my kiddo's dad in the sidewalk, and two gray doves flew down and walked behind him. They waddled. We laughed. Haley says, working with forces in my area to make sure I am aligned with the needs of my people, I'm building an intuitive wand in this process as well. Most of my wands were pretty intuitive too. Teresa says, yeah, people, what are your projects? That says, Ian, I have chronic insomnia. Meds don't work for me, just intensify my dreams.
Well, thankfully it works for mine. I'm on the trazodone. Does a good job. Still don't dream, but sleep anyway.
Well, yeah, before that you hadn't slept or dreamt.
Yeah.
So sleeping is a way better option. Went down too far. Here we are. Haley says, Carla, very cool, exciting to see how people develop their crafting skills in the process of wand building. Would love to see your progress. Carla says, my town is cursed. Zoom in if you can. I think there were rituals done here. I don't know what it is. I don't know where you live, so you'll have to tell us. Pickle says, my apple tree gifted me a perfect branch for a wand this week, so I'm working on figuring out what to do with it. Oh, apple is a wonderful wood, and often is good for healing and love energy, from what I can remember. Ashley says, I'm just bummed about a PTSD episode where I acted out of character. Not my fault. PTSD is a neurological condition, not just emotional. But I still feel guilty. It was from lack of sleep, too. I'm sorry. That's no fun. Teresa says, yes, old structures breaking down is what immediately came to mind with your dream. Donald says, Ian, my dreams have the same feel at the as the tower dream you described. No one is getting badly hurt, but stuff is falling apart and I can't control it. So it's an opportunity. Things are breaking down, an opportunity for us to rebuild it differently, maybe. Yeah. Carla says, Haley, I'll keep you posted. I'm taking my staff and main wand with me for the blood moon. They're getting blessed with that. I love the idea of an intuitive wand, Haley. Teresa says, is a power spot the same as an energy vortex? Well, they can be the same, but not necessarily. You can have a vortex like that is created by people because of something that they've done. I've run across a few of those that are not really power spots. They're just like these swirling energy things that you don't know where they came from, or people opening up portals and whatnot. But very similar, though, I think. Ashley says, my room is a little power spot. I have bright glowing beings flying around my place all the time. It's thick sometimes. It looks misty glow from all the beings. Beth says, I made the mistake of tapping into Gene Hackman and his wife. Immediately I got in the ground and dragon's breath. Media lied. Okay. Ashley says, when the energy builds up from meditation and I open my room door, the building shakes. My poor neighbors. Beth says, the only time I sleep is surgery. Well, then you're not really sleeping now, are you? You're just unconscious. Yeah. When I had surgery, I woke up knowing I had dreamed, but I couldn't remember anything. So I have no idea what I dreamt, except that I did. Carl says, oh God, I don't know if I want to say it out loud. Tyrone, Pennsylvania. Oh, that's where you live. Okay. Gonna write that down so we can look and see if we can see it. Beth says, Carla, you're safe here, love. Asha says, the Kundalini makes it hard for me to sleep. Yeah, it can do that. I had a hard time sleeping last night because I knew the time was changing for one, and then I started sneezing in the middle of the night for another, and then I got to one of those things where no matter what I did, my body just didn't feel comfortable. I couldn't settle back down. It was annoying. But I finally did get a few hours sleep. I got a few hours before and then a few hours after that kind of thing happened. But somebody was in my room last night because I had a nice smell, came by a few times. And I forgot the last time somebody asked me that, the Black Eagle had come and visited me the week before. I saw him just, checking in to see how things were going. So that was interesting. And we had like an event with our crows yesterday, was it, or the day before? Might have been the day before, yeah. We were getting ready to go somewhere and walked outside, and the crows were just cawing and just, freaking out. And I'm looking up, and they're not coming towards my yard for peanuts, but there is a large hawk that's chasing one of them, and it's just like chasing it down and really committed to it. And everybody is yelling. I'm yelling at the crow that's being chased to go to the tree so it can't catch it. I didn't see it get caught, so I'm hoping that the crow escaped, but it was a good-sized hawk. So it was kind of exciting. Carla says, love you, Bethy. Asher says, yep. Beth says, feels good to doze off like normal people for a change. Shay says, Jono, that sounds intense. Beth says, Carla, love you too. Beth says, love Shay. Carla says, I'm seeing a green spiral with the sacred tree meditation. I take that as Kundalini. That certainly could be earth energy coming up and going through your chakras, which awakens the Kundalini. Teresa says, re-breaking down dreams. Why rebuild? Maybe you're coming out of a shell? I don't know. But it leaves room for new structures if you want them. So I guess it's an open-ended question. It's up to the individual to decide what they want to do with the new landscape. but maybe it's a different way of organizing your brain, you know, a way of thinking, a way of seeing, a way of doing. And I think we can do that. I think we can reorganize how our brain functions and what we can do with it. So,
It's not necessarily easy, but it is doable.
yeah, none of that stuff is easy. Carla says that's a bit of a wild ride. Asha says they're either some high level angelic being or deities. Or neither or both. There are words. We don't know for sure. Asha says I had to lay on my couch for a few hours. Good. It's always good to relax and lay down so you don't fall over. All kinds of fun stuff. Carla says, Ian, I take your dream as the tower. I think we're all feeling it. Well, it's
Yeah.
interpreting someone else's dream is always questionable because you don't know for sure how their dream is. So I always try and caveat that with, if it was my dream, blah, blah, blah. And then they can decide.
Yeah,
Catch,
it seems pretty close to the mark. I think for me, it indicates states rather than happening. I think it's breaking up structures because that's precisely what I've been.
so Catch Manny says, I've been waking up randomly at night. Today I feel sick. This full moon, something is happening. I even noticed blood moon and eclipse will be this month, if not mistaken. You're not mistaken, it is. We're having a full lunar eclipse. It will be visible in North America and all over North America. I'm not sure about whether it's visible in Europe or not. I don't remember looking at the map to see that. Gano says, Shay, yeah, it was intense. I got too intense sometimes. It's a mental health thing that I try to manage but fail sometimes. At least I've got lots of room for self-improvement. Catch says, had a wild lucid dream, then tried to astral project but woke up. Ah, well, it's always good to try. Beth says, yesterday my mate for 15 years became legal. Congratulations. Woo! Carla says, it's good though. Well, yeah, it is a shakeup. I think that people often see the tower as a negative card, but I don't necessarily. Like, you're going to
Yeah,
make
well,
room for new things, you have to get rid of old ways.
yeah, it's not really supposed to be negative. It is something that will appear negative, but in the end, it results in positive change in general. I mean, I suppose the inverted tower might be a negative thing.
Well, you think if it was inverted, it'd be positive. I don't know. Mm-hmm.
Well,
Supposed to be the opposite meaning.
well, if it doesn't mean negative anyway,
Yeah.
it means the appearance of
Well, maybe one's external and
destruction.
one's
But
internal, depending on up or down. I don't know. I'm just guessing. Okay. Carla says it's good though. Beth says, catch, keep up with it. It gets easier. Asher says, I think the UFO orbs are deities that experience slapped my spiritual eyebrows off. That experience slapped my spiritual eyebrows off. Okay. Carla says, I can't astral project. Asher says, I'm just laying low. Carla says, I don't see it as a negative at all.
hey,
Yes.
sorry, I don't know how many people know this, but that was an ancient Oriental, I think, Taoist insult to imply that a person had no wisdom to say that they had no eyebrows.
Oh,
I don't know if anybody knows that, but I just thought I'd throw that in there since we mentioned
she said
the
they slapped
slapping
her
the
eyebrows off.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
that was kind of an insult. That old man has no eyebrows.
Okay. Carlos says, I don't see it as negative at all. Beth says, the tower can be a great card, tearing down for something new to come in, more suited for you. Carlos says, the inverted just generally means for me to be on the observing end. Astra says these beings could fry our circuits. They definitely hold back their powers so they don't fry the mortals. Haha, tell that to the 90s chick that overplucked. Well, I mean, if she overplucked, then she definitely doesn't have any wisdom, does she? Because she got rid of her eyebrows and they didn't come back, and now she has to draw them on, which never looks normal.
No, it doesn't.
It never looks normal. Catch Manny says, pull a card today, and even said, my wish will come true. Last time I got a message from a card reading I did for myself. Literally that month, something amazing happened. Cool. Jen says, I hardly ever dream, or at least I don't remember them, but I recently had a dream that 4 tornadoes were coming directly at us. I ran with my kids to a strong concrete building and we took shelter there. Just as the tornadoes caught up to us, we huddled together in the building and the windows blew out as the tornadoes passed over the building, but it was strong, reinforced concrete and we were safe. Just a couple of superficial cuts from the flying glass. Then a few days later, I did a Leonard Mann card reading on our current political situation, and the cards showed an ending to the chaos coming after some time of intense turmoil. I rolled some dice to try to get a time frame and got a 1 and a 5, and my astrological dice came up Aquarius and Gemini, which are January and May, again 1 and 5. Cool. When I get tornado dreams, it tells me that something chaotic is coming, and sometimes it's personal and sometimes it's not, and how far the tornadoes are from me tells me how close it's going to affect me and my family. Yeah, so I do the tornado stuff. Jay says, Ian, love the obscure insult. Carla says, I saw it too, Jen, the sun. I do Oracle more, but it's all the same. Yes, chaos.
I have another obscure insult that I like. That they did is to call somebody who's got a little bit of an attitude, thinks they're hot stuff. You call them the torch bearer, because anybody who's actually born a torch, the torch bearer is the one who gets no light because they're right under the torch they're holding up. Everybody else gets to see, but they don't. So it's an implication to call somebody the torch bearer that they have no light of understanding or wisdom.
I see.
One of those other foreign obscure insults.
Jen says, I was comforted by that because my kids have disabilities. My son is very severe and the proposed cuts to Medicare and food stamps. Yeah, it is an anxious producing time. Carla says, I saw it too, Jen, the sun. I do Oracle more, but it's all the same. Pickle says, I asked my tarot what energy I needed to step into the other day, and I got the 10 of swords and the 8 of cups. Whoa. Yeah, warrior much. Carlos says, ha, Ian. Teresa says, no eyebrows maybe refers to being a baby or a youngster and therefore not wise.
Probably, yeah.
Maybe so.
Makes sense. I don't know where it derived from, but it makes sense. I just thought it amused me.
Yep. Astra says, I had a dream a lady got arrested and she had a show the next day where she was selling crafts. So I parked her car in a safe place and told her I'd sell her items for her while she was in jail. Well, that's kind of you. One way or the other, we'll get through this. Guess we'll see what we are on the other side and what we have to rebuild with. Like, yay! What fun. Isn't that old Chinese curse, may you live in interesting times? Mm-hmm. That says, as a baby until now, if I see a tornado, especially growing up in Mississippi, I always run towards it. I'm an air sign. I can't resist. It's like a moth to a flame. Well, you won't find me doing that. Astra says, then my inner voice chimed in that you would be kind to help a stranger, but wouldn't show the same kindness to yourself. Ooh, deep. It's so true, though. We're much kinder to other people and more forgiving of their, quirks and fallacies and all this other stuff than we are of our own. We are our own worst judge when it comes to all of that stuff. We are very harsh on our own things.
True for general people. It doesn't hold for sociopaths.
Well, sociopaths are in their own category.
Average.
Yeah. Nicole said something and retracted. Astra says, it's true. I'm so mean to myself. You're not alone. A lot of people are. And part of that is that you know exactly what you were thinking, what you were doing, and how you were feeling. And then later, when you feel differently, see differently, or think differently, you look back at this former you and say, what was I thinking? Why didn't I know? And the thing is you only know when you do know. You can't know it before you're ready. And making mistakes is part of how we learn. So if you learn from it and move forward, things will be better than if you blame yourself and, beat yourself in the head with a metaphorical stick. Carla says, we have helpers all around. That's what I'm picking up on. I also saw the scythe. That's an off with their head energy, quick, violent, then the sun. Astra says, I'm trying to be kinder to myself. Yep, that's true, and thanks. You're welcome. I mean, it's harder for us to give ourselves grace than it is to give grace to others. So we need to learn a lesson from how we treat other people and realize that we're just as important as the stranger or the friend or whatever down the street. Carla says, me too, Astra. I'm a real a-hole to myself. I'm sorry. Yep, it's a common problem. Beth says, once again, the sound of Ian and Siofra's voice makes the cats circle me for wet food. It's a good thing. We make cats hungry from a distance. So if your cats aren't eating, put one of our videos on.
Well, I think it must be partially me. All I have to do is come out of the bedroom and the cat wants fed. I mean,
All he has to do is see you or hear you
yep.
moving, and it's time to eat. Yes. Astra says, laugh out loud, Beth. Yep. So, yeah, it's life is certainly interesting, an interesting experience all around. Carla says, Beth, haha. Cats like the sound of our voices. That's all I can say. Apparently, we bring out a lot of cats across. Our cat Bugsy is getting more into watching television since I started putting on some cat videos, and he actually stood up on his hind legs and straightened up like that and stood up to watch the TV the other day. And then he got tired of standing, so he jumped up on the couch so he could get a better view and relax at the same time as watching these other cats. But he was like, head was zipping back and forth watching. I'm worried though that if I show him too many videos, I'll give him some ideas. He's watching them very closely, so he might be getting some bad ideas I might have to correct later. You never know. You got to be careful what you show your cat. Things could happen. They're very creative. For a tiny little brain that they have, like the size of a walnut, they have such personality. It's amazing. Like personality up the wazoo. It's like everyone is so different. They have such unique personalities, every one of them. They have some things in common, but boy, are they different. They're really good at showing us what it means to be an individual and to have boundaries, too. One of the things I like about cats, they're willing to let you know how they think and feel about it right now. No ifs, ands, or buts. No equivocation. No maybes. Like, this is good. This is not good. Stop it. Carla says, okay, so I think the Kathy Shea girl who disappeared has something to do with the curse on this town. This happened before I was born, but that's what it seems. Well, I don't know. I mean, there's a coastal town south of us that supposedly has a curse on it. And what the town has done, it's a native curse because, the bad things we've done to natives when we got here. And so every store in town has native stuff in their windows to honor the natives in the hopes that it will stop the curse. I don't know if it's working or not, but Carlos says, let's just put it all out there. I certainly ran into a local curse here in town, and that was a surprise, a land curse. That was a young native woman who was violated and murdered just on her wedding day as she was getting ready to get married. And yeah, she definitely cursed the land with her dying breath. And I think that curses that happen as you die have some very intense energy. So that was interesting. Carla says, I feel she's under the town in the labyrinth where the water pipes run. Jekyll says, I often wonder how belief in a curse on that scale feeds into the energy of the place. Well, I'm sure it adds
Sure,
to
it
it.
adds to it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Just like, anything like that, it's like the belief of people adding energy into the thing and spreading the story about makes more people think about it and adds more energy to the thing. It's like one of the ways those things are charged up is by attention, whether it's a, casual or on purpose, but the more people that pay attention to it, the more powerful it becomes. Because that energy of attention is a source of energy for everything, pretty much. Gets your attention, you're focused in one direction or another. Carla says, I think the person who took her knew how to get it done down there, how to get down there. So she's still disappeared, I'm taking. And so no one knows where she is, and that's where you think she is. Be interesting if they found her at some point and you were right. Yeah. My timer went away. Found. It's always frustrating when people just vanish and disappear and no one knows what happened to them. They just found a car in one of our rivers up north that has been missing since like 1952. I think it's the last time anyone saw these people. They went for a drive and they think they just found their car in the river. So who knows? That says, my beautiful magical witches, I'm back. I know I missed a lot, even if I'm watching a video from Ian and Siofra, they want food. Well, I mean, you have to feed demanding cats. That's kind of the way that works. Carla says, the crazy deliverance ministry had their flock praying at Shea Field over this girl. Huh. Oh, time changes. Field was donated by a man with the last name of Shea, no relation to the girl. They're nuts. That's a lot of Shays.
Yep.
Is there a shea butter? No. Sorry. Speaking of shays, at least it's spelled differently than our other shay. That says it doesn't matter what time it is. I call that a good sign. All right. Carla laughs. Teresa says, we are all so pensive today. Maybe we should do a group meditation. No, I don't think we're doing that on live TV at the moment. I mean, we can do that when we're prepared to do that, but everybody can meditate if they want to. That's fine. But we're just, where we are and what we're at. Asha says, laugh out loud. Ah. Asha says, or I think I need a nap. Teresa says, definitely something in the air. Beth says, I go so deep I would pass out in 5 minutes. Yeah, we don't need people passing out. We have enough of that already. I think it's the time change, actually. I mean, I managed to get up at today's 7:30, which would have been yesterday's 6:30. So, but it's like we're all kind of, those of us who've gone through the time change are going to take about a week or so to really fully adapt and get our rhythms back to normal. And it's always a little bit of a upset. Astra says, laugh out loud, Beth. Beth says, you're probably right, Siofra. Carla says, this is a super small rural town, about 5,000. We have no less than 20 churches. There's a reason they're drawn here. They do no good, but they're here. We have I don't know how many churches we have here, but we've got a lot. And there's only see, between both ends of the town, I think there's about maybe 30,000 altogether. And I'm sure we've got at least 100 churches. Crazy. Yeah. It's crazy. It says Astra, kiss, kiss, kiss. Hearts. Carl says it's dark magic. That's what we're feeling. Well, you know, dark magic is trying to impose your will upon someone else. That's one of the definitions of it. Whether it's on a someone or something, it's like the attempt to impose your will and make something or someone change when they don't want to, and to comply with your needs or desires or wants. So that would be a basic definition of dark magic. Carlos says it's almost gone. Ashley says, I have a Christian mega cult in my town. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I know. I watched that documentary and I escaped a cult. There were 10 different cults they talked about. Like how I escaped my cult, I think is actually was pretty interesting. But man, there's some scary cults out there. Esther says, Beth, hearts. Teresa says, I live rurally and there are a lot of cemeteries on many of the back roads. Some have churches, but not all. Carla says, sorry, Astra. Yeah, we're all sorry about that. Then there's that church group in South Carolina that's actively seeking out pagans to mess with them. Rather annoying and frustrating and scary. It came to light, so yeah. They like to mess with people. Just a very strange day energetically. Carla says, my town is a mega cult. Yeah. There's a lot of them. But what gets me is like it feels like we're living in upside down mirror bizarro world. Like nothing makes sense to me. Teresa says, and there are former witches on YouTube urging witches to convert to Christianity. Oh, yeah. I occasionally had watched like some things on the 700 Club, which is, you know, that, and watched these people that were used to be witches that converted to Christianity talking about how they knew they were so wrong, et cetera, and trying to urge other people to do the same thing. And I'm like, I don't understand how you can become awakened, open the door, walk through it, and exist in that environment, and then turn around, walk back, and shut the door. It is sort of beyond me. Carla says they think my government is responsible for the Butler, Pennsylvania incident. I'm not sure I'm familiar with that. Asher says, yes, that's exactly what it feels like. Beth says, I love our neighbors. We have a retired Baptist minister next to us that's open-minded and she's energy. He gives me a thumbs up when I'm salting around the house and smudging. Carla says, this is my local town council who thinks this. Ray says, I don't think they ever fully awakened. Well, yeah, I guess that would be a duh. But, I mean, it's hard for me to understand. I know someone personally who was a very powerful, in her own right, witch. And then she became a Christian. Now she's back to being a witch. Like, I guess for me, it's like when the choice is made, when it's there, it's like there are no other choices. So it's just a hard thing for me to grasp. It doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Carla says they believe some Ramona singer eyes lady. Okay, Beth says, I'm so thankful our neighborhood is a beautiful bubble. Ah, eyed. Ramona singer eyed lady. Asha says they usually have underdiagnosed mental conditions and gloss over that, but externalize blame. And now it's witchcraft's fault that they failed to be actual witches. Many of them are dabblers. Well, that's quite possible. That would be a good explanation. Ben says the thing that struck me about my dream is that the difference between a 1 and 5 equals 4, and there were 4 tornadoes, and you had the 1 and the 5 in your dream, in your reading, yeah. Lulu says, hi, I'm late again because I wanted to rest a minute and fell asleep for an hour. I'm sorry. Well, it's good you slept. Carla says, you're lucky, Beth. And Beth says, the last 2 weeks, black magic has been on a rampage. And Jen says, so I took it that the worst of it will be for 4 months, but will get better sometime in June. Fingers crossed, fingers horned, whatever works. Oh, legs crossed, uncrossed, I don't care. Get them positive omens going. Well, I'm hopeful that Jono's astrologer in England is right, and March is the worst month, and then things will start to clear up. It would be nice. I don't see it happening, but it would be nice. Beth says, Carly, the energy here is enchanting. I wish you could all feel it. Our neighborhood is, generally speaking, pretty quiet. We have a hard time keeping neighbors, and I'm wondering if it's because of us.
Yeah. I mean, frankly, all of our other neighbors prior to this set, they were
Nasty.
they were obnoxious. This set of neighbors wasn't too bad,
But
you know,
they're gone. Maybe they always planned on just buying and then selling again,
could be.
and we just didn't know them, so we
Trish
didn't
lived
know.
there for a couple of years.
I think it was only a year. She was pregnant when she moved in, and she just had the baby, so. Jen said, yes, the place in Miami was apparently cursed by the Indians when Andrew Jackson forced them to leave. It was a sacred place for them, and they apparently cursed it when they left. Yeah, I think that's happened quite a bit, actually. Teresa says, I've been really getting into experiencing spirituality as a journey through human history. If you stick to one religion, you miss so much of what it means to be human, probably not expressing this we. Or, well, not expressing this well. Okay, it cut her off with the one L. I thought it was an exclamation point. Jen says the Bermuda Triangle had a point touching Miami, so it makes sense to me. I'm sure there's a lot of mysteries out there that we still don't know anything about. And at some point, hopefully, we shall learn. Violet says, hi there, I did not realize that we sprung forward until just now. I'm sorry. Yeah, we had to realize that, so we got up. Welcome. That says, yesterday we had a love fest in the backyard. Around 500 robins were doing their spring thing.
Oh,
Oh,
awesome.
that sounds fabulous. I love that. Robins doing their spring thing, yay. That's pretty spectacular. Talk about a lot of energy. I saw that the pair of eagles have 3 eaglets. They have triplets, which is unusual. Carla says, I've been trying to find out what Tyrone was before it was Tyrone. The Historical Society only has records from when the town sprung up. Ah. Have you tried talking to any, are there any natives left in your area? They might know. That says, Violent Star. Violet says, hi, Beth. I think she meant Violet Star, not violent. Fingers, though, things they do. So funny.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't think Violet Star is violent.
Interesting. One letter addition
One letter.
to a word. Yeah.
And yeah, or getting 2 letters completely.
Well, yes, like Satan and Santa.
Claus.
Yep.
Yeah. I knew you were thinking of that. Asher says, laugh out loud.
Of course, that's my favorite.
It is your favorite one. It's like, and I know you, so I know that's your favorite one. Jen says, I feel like that very heavy energy where things feel very thick and slow before a major hurricane comes. Well, that was sort of the dream I had the week before, was that weird thick area that people were trying to pull and push the horses through in order to get things moving. It was like that, kind of. Violet says, laugh out loud. Beth says, we go through almost 2 bags of feed every 4 days, and I provide water and housing. Well, that's a lot for all your robins. Teresa says, Ian, how's your painting coming along?
It hasn't been lately. I've been involved with other stuff.
Like the car.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got one I've been meaning to doing, which is a Mother Earth related painting, which is the next one I want to get started on right now. But I'm just slow at getting started. I'm slow at doing paint. That's okay. I'll get it going here probably within a month or so. Started. I know exactly what I want to do at this point, so that's the first problem
step
is deciding what you want.
Yeah, because then you can plan what colors you need and stuff like that. Carlos says, I'm unsure. My friend might have someone I could ask. Well, that would be, a route to try and take to find out information because generally speaking, the native history is not saved by the conquering town. I went to a museum in Wairika one day, and it was all about the settlers and nothing about the natives that they murdered when they got there and, like, poisoned during a peace treaty meeting. They had a big signing of a treaty and basically poisoned the feast and killed everybody who ate there. So, yeah, they don't mention that part. No. And of course, right now we're in a revisionist history section of the planet because people are trying to eradicate people that have done some amazing things because they don't like the color of their skin or what have you, and they think that they're being unfairly like honored or some such. I don't know where their brains are at, but yeah. So revisionist is happening right now in our current time frame, and it's just very strange to watch. The most recent one was the administration deciding that they wanted to take down the picture and all references to the Enola Gay because apparently they didn't like the word gay, and people don't know their history, I'm assuming, that were there because that was the name of the airplane that dropped the bomb in Japan that ended the war with them. Um, yeah. So what? And it was named after the pilot's mother. His name was Enola, and his last name was Gay, and so it's just ridiculous. There's just some really crazy stuff. And I checked to make sure it was real before I posted it because I'm like, it sounds like it would be real, but there's a lot of things that sound like they might be real that aren't. But it was real. So
Well, the only thing that I questioned on that was whether Trump actually occasioned that to happen. I knew the Enola Gay stuff was.
well, no, it
I've heard
wasn't
that
him
before.
specifically. It was the guy he appointed to the Pentagon
Okay.
that decided that that was part of the getting rid of the DEI references.
But I knew the stuff about the Enola Gay and
Yeah.
the name, and that was.
Yeah.
Yeah. That doesn't surprise me. That would happen.
Asher says, Violent Star sounds more metal, though. This is true. Jen says, yep, Upside Down, Bizarro World, for real. Yeah, and Mirror. And Trey says, history is written by the victors. Yeah, and apparently they've declared victory already. Beth says, Ian, take your time, lay out your painting tools. When it hits you, you'll go for it on your terms. Thank you. Of course, of course.
Yeah, and that's part of it too. Is I've been trying to rearrange things. Things are kind of up in the air, and not sure where I'm going to be painting. I mean, I know where at, but what room? But I just haven't got things quite arranged to my liking. So that's been part of the reason it's been delayed lately.
And Beth says, Carla, so true. Shay says, just read they're trying to eliminate Rosie the Riveter from women's history. Seriously.
Why?
Because they're idiots. They don't want women or people of color to have credit. They took down like the pictures of the women of NASA, and I mean.
Oh, did they?
Yes,
really?
they did.
Oh my God.
I mean, the whole thing is just crazy.
It doesn't surprise me. It's okay. Politics.
Okay, I know it's true. Carla says, I saw that. Lula says it means happy. Gay? Yes, it does. Then says the Catholic Orthodox Church would be considered witchy by many evangelicals because of the icon statues, holy water, etc. Well, actually, that's why they became Protestants because they thought that the Catholics were too pagan. Carla says they are trolls to the highest degree, unskilled, angry trolls. That says I am so wrapped up in nature and the fae that the world is pushed out. Yay, that's good. Carla says Beth. Beth says Carla. Kisses and laughter and hearts, yay, all around. But we have to take care of ourselves and try and stay as human as possible. Taking care of the people that are close to us, protecting them if we can, and watching out for any potential things.
Sorry, I just figured out how to put you on the screen.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
See your face.
All right. Has me confused. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Technology. Woo! But yeah, so it's it's crazy. But yes, I like nature. I'm waiting for the turkeys to come back.
Yeah. Haven't heard it lately.
Nope, they'll be coming around sometime soon, though, I bet. I've been hearing the geese flying overhead too, on occasion. And yeah, so yay! Creativity. Leave the world better than you found it. I like the idea that if you help a single person, your life has been worthwhile. Because that actually is a reachable goal, I think.
Guess it was how much help you can out. I mean,
Yeah,
help somebody change a tire is not going to be life changing.
it
In
might
most
be.
cases,
It might be. I mean, I had someone give me a flower, and that was a life changing moment.
true. All in the timing.
Yep, it's all in the timing. It doesn't have to be anything big. It can be something really small, and you don't know for sure how massive an impact you might have on someone else's life by giving them a compliment or a smile or a helping hand or your attention or whatever. The listening, the ability to listen to people, is a skill in and of itself that a lot of people lack, and many people are craving attention because no one is listening to them. So I think that in itself could be a great gift for a lot of people. Carla says, we see them turkeys on our rides, and the sweetums is hearing the geese overhead at work. Yeah. Yeah, things are coming back where they belong, where they came from, where they went to and came back from. Like things keep moving. Jay says, kindness is magic. I think so. Like it's a dance. So, taking care of your yard and your animals and so forth is also a good thing. It helps the world. So, you don't have to be like the person in the middle of the thick of it that can, like, change things on a dime and transform the entire world or whatever. It doesn't have to be that kind of giant thing to have a purpose.
It would just help if a lot of people would start feeling like they have some responsibility and are caretakers of this planet and of our life on this planet and things, and just have that attitude of respect, like you're a caretaker. Put here to part of it is to of a human being's task is to be a caretaker for nature and the environment we're in, and overall do a poor job of that, except for some individuals who care. General as a society, we're not caretakers of the planet. We look like it's our adversary to destroy and to mine out. And that, sorry,
To
don't want to go
battle.
on a rant, but yeah, I think if everybody could just picture themselves as a caretaker, like this is part of their responsibility, their environment they're in, and had that attitude, the place would be a lot better off. Doesn't seem to spread that easy in today's society, though, in general.
Carla says, I'm not sure if the peepers are back. I didn't hear them on our last ride. Lula says, Happy International Women's Day, a day late. Yes, it was yesterday, wasn't it? Thought that was pretty cool. We still have one. Ha! Carla says, to you too, Lul. Jay says, 100% truth, Ian. Thank you. Beth says, Shay, I'm so ready for our ducks and geese to come back. I'm in East Tennessee. My sister got 4 new ducks, and one of them turned out to be a boy. She was looking for all girls, so. And yeah, like, she has eggs though. I wonder if she can ship me eggs across the country. Get some duck eggs coming.
That'd be one for those experiments.
Oh yeah, it's like, can you pack these eggs so they don't crack and break on the way?
Just shipping them, like, yeah.
UPS and yeah, FedEx and USPS, and see who gets them there intact.
We once ordered something when we had our business, and the box came and it was round. It had previously been square, but by the time the box shown up, it was round. It was a circle. Somebody at the store commented, "What do they do? Just throw these things out of the airplane as they fly by?"
Rolling along.
What does it take to make a square box into a round one? Thankfully, the product inside was fine, but the box was pretty beat up.
It's amazing. They had it very well
Yep.
protected. Beth says, agreed, Ian. I'm responsible for nature here. It's a blessing that humbles me. Jen says, absolutely. Love is so much greater than hate, and even the light from a single match can penetrate the deepest darkness. True. Like, we have to help one another and vibe high. Ooh, it got windy.
Yes, it has been windier.
Okay, so if we lose you, it's because the wind decided to take the power out like it did the last time, week before last. So,
But right now we're good.
Shay says Beth, hearts and then ducks. All her ducks are in a row. They're pretty cute. They look like mallards from the green head. Anywho. That
Yes.
says Shay. Grateful Owl says it's super windy here, but that's normal for my area.
Kind of normal for ours too. We just kind of
It
get
hasn't
used
been.
to it.
It was nice yesterday and the day before. It was gorgeous.
But always near, it gets windy when it starts getting hot inland, so we get a lot of wind then. The hot air goes up and sucks all the cold air in from over here.
Carla says, I notice I'm having trouble connecting with meditation. Past 3 times have been blah. Well, keep it up. It'll get better. It's just one of those things. I have some days when I do my Aurora chant in the morning that it's all very energetic and amazing, and I can feel it and her presence and stuff. And other times it's just, repetition and not that much energy. So it just really depends. Jen says, I agree, Ian. We're supposed to be caretakers of the planet and of each other. Carla's nodding in agreement. I mean, sometimes we're hot, sometimes we're not. We can keep on going.
Start to remove old ads.
Well, I have so many since I started off with the beginning of television. Yeah, really good at getting a jingle in your brain.
I think the Oscar Mayer Wiener. Talking people into wanting kids into singing, I want to be an Oscar Mayer Wiener. That's pretty brilliant marketing.
Yes, it is. Teresa says, I think Alberta is having major winds that are blowing trucks over, and Alberta Clipper is due here tomorrow. Ooh. Carla says, Siofra, ha ha. Beth says, hotness is on the way. Grateful Owl says, I live in Lethbridge, Alberta. Half out loud, it is bad today. So you're in the wind. Okay. Well,
that's where the answers are.
Is in the wind. The answers, my friend, are blowing in the wind. Yeah. So Grateful Owl needs to tell us like it is and what we need to do. Because you have all the answers because it's windy where you are. Carla says, Bethy sizzle. Yes, we're all hot. Life is just a fascinating thing.
By the way, we haven't watched the Dylan, have we?
Yes, we did. We watched the entire thing. Yes, and I loved it. And I had no idea that Joan Baez and him had a thing.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, seems like it's been years ago at this point.
No, it has not been. It's only been less than a week. Yep. And he did not win any Academy Awards for his performance, but I thought he did an exceptionally wonderful job, and I loved the music, and I thought he sang fantastic. Great fun to watch. Jono says, Bob Dylan for the win. Teresa says, Grateful Owl, we're practically neighbors. I'm in Manitoba. Beth says, Carla, love. Yes. I grew up on Bob Dylan. and Joan Baez. My mother actually and one of my sisters met Joan Baez in Washington, D.C. I had a sister who was working at a hotel where a lot of the stars stayed when they were in town, and she was one of them. And they just had a nice, friendly chat, like a regular person. And I saw that Bruce Coburn is coming to Portland, Oregon, and he's going to be there this month, I think, pretty quick. And I remember watching him in a park in Saskatchewan when I lived there in one spring, summer, or whatever, and he was just in the park playing his guitar. So it was kind of interesting. Grateful Al says, "Laugh out loud." There's that mound about an hour away where I had that sylph experience. Yeah, that could be a power spot. Jen says, "Laugh out loud." IKR, those old school jingles. I still remember the words to the Slinky jingle from when I was a kid in the 70s. Oh yeah, me too.
Get
Let's not
impregnated into
let's
you.
not sing those, please. I have enough chatter in my brain as it is without the jingles coming back.
That's
Yes.
some marketing when you still remember them after all that time,
Well, that's why they were genius. It's like,
Impregnated right into the
yeah, they
person,
didn't
yeah.
really need
You
to do
can't
much.
get rid of them if you want to.
That's right. Even like 50 years later, they're still there. Nichols says, "What's a sylph? A sylph is a water spirit, elemental being. No, sylph is an air being. Sorry,
There, yeah.
I got the wrong one. I was thinking undines for some reason. Yes, sylph is an air spirit, and air spirits are very shy. We ran into a sylph at a local park one day, and that was interesting because Ian felt it first. He was by himself, and then he got me to go on a walk with him, and didn't. He said he felt something, but he wasn't sure about it. And I stopped right where he had sensed it and felt it too, and declared it was a sylph. And he says, "That's exactly what I thought it was." And
Yeah, it was one of those interesting verifications because I didn't tell her where it was at all. So, and we just went through and she sensed it same place. So, those types of things are good for a little bit of objective verification occasionally.
yeah,
Because there's, chances are it's kind of a long and winding path into the park through a bunch of wooded area. So, it was not at all obvious visually. There
yeah.
was nothing visually to signal where it was, and she found the exact spot.
Beth says, "One of my dearest friends at 64 is in love for the first time with a woman that makes her feel like a teenager for the first time." Well, good for her or him. Makes her feel, yeah, it must be a her. Okay. Carla says, "We're going to get earworms from that, Jen." Mm, yeah, that says her. Yeah. Sometimes I have to look at words. I'm so literal. I was thinking about how literal I am from the time I was little. I was a very literal child. And yeah, I was remembering being very disappointed in the petrified forest. My mother described it beautifully, like a forest of trees that had turned to stone, and even insects had turned to stone. In my head, there was a standing forest, like, a whole forest that had turned to stone. And boy, when I was met with a bunch of like stumps and things on the ground, I was like, what? This is not what she said. No, I'm very literal.
Where was that at? State-wise, what state is that?
Arizona or
Arizona.
New Mexico. We were traveling to
Okay.
Arizona. I think it was in New Mexico, actually. We'd gone to the Carlsbad Caverns, which was my first cave experience, which I really loved a lot. And it was amazing to go through the Carlsbad Caverns. I understand they've really messed them up for a while since because they started having food services in there and they were like covering the formations with grease from the
Right.
cooking grease and stuff. But when I was there, they didn't have anything like that. It was just a trail. They led people on, and then they turned out all the lights and stuff, and it was just absolutely phenomenal. I just loved it. Made me in love with caves. And then the um, that was definitely in New Mexico, and I think the Petrified Forest was between there and Phoenix. And then we went to the Grand Canyon, saw the Grand Canyon as well. So that was kind of a fun trip. Also got to see a sandstorm. which was very exciting. They just had they had one recently in Texas area and stuff. They had a big sandstorm. So that was interesting. And then the lightning and so forth. I remember that. Ah, Jen says, laugh out loud. Siofra, I'm literal too. Carla says, it's a really cool thing to watch. I have so much love for them all. Beth says, I don't like the desert. In a past life, I died in a battle in the Middle East. Grateful Al says, they weren't shy the day I saw them. I had to research what they were afterwards. The one looked like an elder indigenous woman, and I remember her smiling at me. They made a static sound, too. Well, that's pretty cool. Jen says, caves are cool. Too bad about the cooking grease. Carla says, I posted before saying Bethy. Oh, Beth says, Carla says, Beth, one of my good friend's moms, came out later in life. She's so content. And Beth says, Carla, that's so beautiful. Okay, I missed that. Sorry. I missed it. What am I going to say? So we're about an hour and a half in to our show today. And, we don't have to be like, on fire every time. That's one of the things. Life is like this. So I guess we shall say it's time for us to go. And I'll keep you updated on the Amethyst Crystal Web Project and where we're at with that and whether I can get it together to do something this coming full moon. Yeah, see what's happening. So I hope you all have a fantastic full moon this week. Carla says, much love, you guys. Violet says, bye. Jonna says, Siofra, I hope you get a chance to spend 3 days in a cave one day. Yeah, me too. Thanks for the stream. Beth says, however, I'm drawn to Egyptian gods. I am as well. Lewis says, have a good week. Ben says, lots of love to everyone. Have a beautiful week. Shay says, bright blessings. All stay safe. He says, blessed be everyone.
Thank you all for your participation.
Yes.
It wouldn't be a chat without you all.
That's right. And we'll have more videos coming out soon. Bye, guys.